quick. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going over a 2020 Volvo XC90 in the Inscription package with the hybrid powertrain. So as always, a huge shout out and thank you to Volvo here in downtown Salt Lake for providing us with this XC90. Check out their inventory in the link below. Let's get into it. So under the hood of the T8E, we have a 2-liter 4-cylinder that's turbocharged and supercharged. It goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 55 mpge between city and highway. And then in terms of power outputs, the whole system puts out 400 horsepower and then 472 pound-feet of torque with the 0 to 60 time in the low 5-second range. And then in terms of the all-electric range, it's 18 miles. Let's go over the front end on the XC90 Inscription. So first off, with the front end, I love the LED lights here. So this is known as Thor's hammer. You guys can see it basically makes a hammer. You got the full like clusters of LEDs. These are super bright at night. I mean, I get blinded by them all the time, so you'll have good visibility with them. You've got the Volvo logo, and then notice there is a camera right there in the center. I love the whole grille. And then notice that this is pretty like sharp on the edges, kind of looks like a little front splitter down there. Pretty neat design touch on the bottom, but overall I love the design language on the front end of the XC90. Definitely just has like an elegant look to it, but then also kind of like a modern look as well. Coming around the side here, we've got 275mm tires on 21-inch rims in the front. And yes, also in the rear as well. They're just absolutely massive. I love the design on them. They kind of like mimic sort of like that Thor's hammer design with the rims, just very slightly. And then other than that, you guys will notice this little cap right here. So all you have to do, oh sorry, press on the wrong end. You just have to press it in, and then this is basically where you can do the charging on it because it is a plug-in hybrid, and then you just kind of press that again to hide it. But here is a full look, or I should say the full profile on the XC90. Now here's our key fob for the Volvo. You have the lock function on the top, you've got the unlock and then the release for the hatch, and then you got the Volvo logo right there, and on the back it's just blank. But hold this down and that'll open up the rear hatch for the XC90. Now coming into the rear here, you actually have a decent amount of storage behind the third row. You've got all the mats and everything back here. Do get a 12-volt. Yes, you can fold down the seat, so you just pick up this tab, and then notice it already does the headrest for you, and then you do actually have to push it forward. Super easy to put that down, and then that'll give you some extra storage space for the rear. In terms of getting the seat back up, you just have to well, you got to pick it back up, put it into place. So up top there, you guys notice that you can lock it, and then I love how it shows a car instead of an SUV, but regardless, that shuts the tailgate. And then yes, this has a little foot wavy thing, so we're gonna try this out and see if I can magically get it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get it. Oh, there you go. You just gotta wave it for a second and have the magic touch, and then it'll close up. Now here is the rear end on this XC90 Inscription. You have the massive taillights in the rear, again distinctively Volvo. You've got all your regular logos on the back, the T8 with the E logo, all that kind of stuff. You've got the parking sensors all along the bottom, then dual outlet for the exhaust, and then notice you do get mud flaps. I did forget to mention that. And you got little roof rails at the top, but well, that's everything before we pop in. Coming to the rear, we do have keyless entry, so you just have to press that and then it'll unlock the rear. Now here's the door panel in the back. You got some interesting elements happening here. So you get the soft touch with the stitching, and then it comes down to kind of like this like really interesting texture for the wood trim itself. And then you have leather padding down there. Yes, you do get a little sunshade for the rear passengers. Now this one is a 6-seater, so you've got captain chairs here in the second row. Full white leather, really soft to the touch in this Inscription package. And yep, we're gonna pop in, guys. So sitting here in the second row, it's really comfortable. There is a ton of legroom. I'm 5'11". I've got a good amount of headroom as well. I mean, just overall, it feels really comfortable. Notice that I can control the climate from the rear here, and you do get heated seats as well. Another little 12-volt. And then in terms of the third row, you will notice that legroom's kind of interesting because there's this little area that dips down, so you could put your legs there, but there is also that shelf. And other than that, I mean, the third row, the seats are just as nice. I would just kind of reserve that area for kids. Coming up to the front here, we do have keyless entry again, and notice the mirror will power fold out. Now, looking at the door panel here at the front, design-wise, it's pretty much the same as what is in the rear. You do get the Bowers & Wilkins sound system. Memory seat controls are right in that little area. And then here are the seats in the front of the XC90 Inscription. Again, that beautiful white leather, you got all the perforations all throughout the seats, just really nice with the quality on that. Your adjustments on the side of the seats, there is the pedal layout at the bottom, and then you've got a little trunk release, gas release right there. And well, let's actually hop in. Well, to start up the XC90, you actually have to twist the push button start while you have your foot on the brake. And well, the engine's not going to pop on because it's a hybrid, but all the other stuff will. Here's the steering wheel on the XC90. I love the two-tone design on it. So you've got the black leather on the outside and then the white on the inside. You've got all of your controls here for like the center screen and then your voice commands. And just look at the head. That kind of looks like an alien head, kind of, sort of. Cruise control on the other side, and then you got the stock for the light control, windshield wipers on the other side, and that's all for the steering wheel. Now here in the center gauge cluster, you've got the speed over on that side, and then over on the other side, you've got kind of like the little power gauge, and then here in the center, just gives you different bits of information on the vehicle itself, but that is, well, that's pretty much everything for the little center stack. Now here's the infotainment system. First off, we're going to pop it into reverse so you guys can see what the backup camera looks like. So here is the backup camera itself, and then you can go through, so you got like a 360-degree view. I've got the door open so you can't see a view through there, but you can basically press the camera on any single part of the vehicle and it gives you like a viewpoint out of that, which I think is really neat. So parking this XC90 is going to be really easy. It's not a big vehicle regardless, but this camera system definitely helps out. Now with the rest of the infotainment system itself, it is a touchscreen, so you basically just press stuff. In terms of the response time on the screen itself, response time is super solid, and you just press that and that'll take you back to home. You can press the phone, I mean, just everything. You just press it instantly, it happens. And look at that, it even tells you like all the vehicle information, fuel economy. Now obviously this hasn't been driven, it has 5.8 miles on it, so that's why the fuel economy is not going to be accurate currently. Yeah, distance 2.9 miles, whatever. So there's the whole like infotainment system set up on that part. Notice that you do get heated and cooled seats. You just press that little button to turn it on, and then you can also basically customize your climate control with this little dial. Super simple, super easy to use, just I like it. Now here are the analog controls for that infotainment system just down below it, and you've got kind of like this textured wood, and here's the world's weirdest shifter. It's kind of interesting, they did this like crystal look. I think it's neat, definitely unique, definitely unique. And then you've got this like storage area, which decent amount of storage, and you got a little 12 volt in there. And then over here you've got the engine stop start button. You got the drive mode select, we'll go over that in just a moment. You got the parking brake and then the auto hold. Now with the drive mode select itself, you actually have to press it in, and then once you press it in, it'll give you the mode. So you've got the pure, you got the constant all-wheel drive, you've got the power, and then you've got the off-road, and it literally describes the drive mode. So like, you can't mess up when you go into a drive mode because it's pretty straightforward. Now with more storage, we do have the center console lid, and yeah, decent amount of storage just underneath there, and it just stops wherever you put it. So that's kind of like a neat little thing. So wherever you want it, you just let it go and it'll stay there. And then coming over to the glove box, you guys are gonna be like, wait, how do I open up this glove box? Well, there's a button right there, and the glove box will pop up, and well, if your backpack's not in the way. But you've got that, and notice that it is air conditioned, so you can kind of turn this glove box into a mini fridge. And then just again, really nice wood trim above, really nice stitching all above, and just they put tons of that in the interior here. Now up top here, you guys will notice we do get a full panoramic sunroof in the XC90 Inscription. You got your light controls up here, pretty simple, just press the little button and the light pops on, and well, that's all for the top. Well, let's quickly talk about pricing here in the XC90 before we set off. So this car stickers for about $84,000. Remember, this is the T8 all-wheel drive, so it has all of the options. That all being said, let's take this XC90 out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility here in the XC90 Inscription before we set off. So visibility over the hood is unchanged compared to the regular XC90, even though this has that hybrid powertrain. There's your visibility through both of the mirrors. And then here's your visibility all throughout the rear. So visibility in general is just really solid, bunch of large square windows. There is that little kind of like blind spot in that area and in that area, but it's not bad by any means. And well, let's set off. We're setting off here in the XC90 Inscription, and Well, of course I run into a red light, but this will give us a chance to actually talk about just kind of like the overall sound insulation on this. So the reason I love reviewing cars here in downtown Salt Lake is the fact that it's really noisy down here. There's a lot of traffic, there's a lot of stuff happening around, people yelling random stuff. It's kind of a weird place sometimes. But in this cabin right now, all I can hear is my air-conditioned seat. I can't hear anything else. I can't hear that truck that just drove by. I can't it's such a quiet cabin. So really good job with that from I guess the luxury cars perspective. So I'm right now in the fully electric mode, very seamless. It has more than enough get up and go when you are in the fully electric mode. So really solid on that. In terms of the noise when you are moving, it's so quiet. This is incredible how quiet this is. You just don't really hear anything going over these train tracks. They don't really upset it at all, so it's doing such a good job. Again, as a luxury vehicle, just super solid on that side of things. And the next thing that I want to mention is just kind of I guess the overall just daily driving feel of this, the maneuverability, all that kind of stuff. This doesn't feel like a big vehicle by any stretch. It is a third row SUV, but it drives a lot smaller than it actually is. So again, Volvo has just done a solid job on basically configuring this to just be really solid at all of the daily driving applications that you're going to want to do. Now, in terms of the drive mode, I'm going to change drive modes. I'm actually going to go over into the power. Oh, it's trying to go off-road, but you can't. I'm going too fast. Going into the power mode, going to see how that kind of performs differently. Now, the one thing I will say with this dial system, it's kind of hard to be super accurate when you are driving to get it onto the drive mode and then press it in. So definitely take that into consideration with this vehicle. But now here in the power mode, I noticed it's gotten a little bit louder with the engine. Obviously the engine popped on fully instead of just intermittently coming on and off when you're in the hybrid mode. But we'll kind of, ooh, yeah, it's got torque that just pops right on. That's crazy. That's why I love hybrids like this, is you get that instant torque off the line, and then you get that top end pull that a naturally, or not, this one's not naturally aspirated, but what a regular combustion engine will have, because typically electric cars will kind of die off on the top end. And we'll see what the handling is on this little part here. Yeah, I would say it's about average in terms of the handling. So the body roll, all of that feels about on point with where it should be. And let's get our highway acceleration going on here once we get this little straightaway. Yeah, that was quick to get up to speed. That was definitely quick to get up to speed. Now, in terms of the overall feeling of acceleration, I will say this is kind of interesting. It doesn't quite feel like 400 horsepower. That's, I don't know, it's weird. It has 400 horsepower, 474 pound-feet of torque, and it's just weird. And right off, when you're going off the line, it feels like it, but when you really get into it, it doesn't quite feel like 400 horsepower. It feels close, but not quite. So kind of interesting on that. And we'll kind of give it another little chance right here, actually. Yeah, we got enough space, guys. Yeah, that's weird. It just kind of putters off to an extent. And we're actually gonna get another turn here so that we can kind of see the handling before we get into summing things up with this XC90. And we'll see how it performs with our tunnel test. Just kidding, the exhaust isn't loud enough for us to do anything through the tunnel itself. Yeah, it's so quiet. Those tunnels are so loud, and it's not you just don't hear anything coming through. So let's get into summing things up with the XC90 Inscription with this hybrid system. So the things that I'm impressed with, the sound. You guys have heard me talk about that pretty much this whole video. It sounds really, really good, just from an insulation standpoint. What I mean by really good is you just don't hear a whole lot that comes through into the cabin. So super solid on that. The acceleration, I mean, maybe it's just because the battery's not fully charged up, but it definitely leaves just a little bit to be desired. Other than that, I feel like it's a really solid third row SUV. I love the practicality of it. I love the aesthetics of it. It's right in the price point that it should be for other cars that are similar to this. So if that's kind of what you're looking for, is a fun-ish, kind of more safe, luxury SUV, then definitely check out the XC90 with the hybrid system. And there we have it, everyone, the 2020 Volvo XC90 T8 Inscription with the hybrid powertrain. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Volvo here in downtown Salt Lake for providing us with this XC90. Check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you in the next video.